Just wanted to connect with you guys this week. One of the things that we're going to be talking about today is getting good deals on some things at thrift stores and secondhand places. First off, I want to talk about, as a homesteader, I'm always looking for tools and equipment, materials and things that we can utilize to help us in our process of saving money. So for example, here we have a East Wing framing hammer, and because of the length and the size of the hammer, this is a really good framing hammer, and it's virtually indestructible with the solid steel shank that goes all the way through. If was to buy a hammer like this brand new, it'd probably be 50-60 bucks. I feel certain I picked this up at a secondhand shop for somewhere around $5. Along that same line, here was another one that I picked up at a secondhand place. Virtually brand new old stock, still has the stickers on it, for $36.95. This is a roofing hatchet, hammer, nail puller, multi-tool. Probably paid $5 to $8 for something of that nature. Just the other day, I was in a secondhand store, and I saw something that looked unusual, I'd never seen before, and so I picked up, these are called cocktail stirrers. The only markings on them are sterling, which is an indicator of it being sterling silver, but very unusual in that you basically make your cocktail and then you can stir it up, and then it has a tubular shaft, and you can even see the other end down here, and that way you can taste of your cocktail. Did a little research, and we didn't find any exactly like these, but we found some similar, and I paid like $2 for these four. We saw some that were going for like, 50-60 bucks a piece. So I'm also looking for good deals, but one of the first things that I thought of when I saw this was the shafts. I thought would probably be cool in knife making. As some of you may know, I also make knives, and I'm always in the process of looking for knife making tools, but I've been collecting knives since I was 8 years old. When I went home to Tennessee for Thanksgiving, I stopped at a secondhand store, an antique secondhand store that I've frequented almost every time that I go home, and I found this. It's Turkish or Afghani, Pakistani, or something. There's no markings. It's a handmade knife. It's got like a buffalo horn handle with some inlays of copper and some other stuff. I'm not really sure. And there may be some significance to the shape. It looks like at one time this was maybe double-edged. That's just some of the things that I look for when I'm going to secondhand stores. On to our main focus for today's video is we wanted to show how to refurbish or recondition cast iron. And so in my endeavors, the same place that I picked up these silver spoons, I found this really nice smaller cast iron skillet. One of the reasons that I decided to get this one was because of its size. I thought this would be great for baking some bread that would be about the right size for her and I. There is some rust on it, and I wanted to show how to recondition this so that we can get it back into usable shape. First of all, we need an aluminum pan so that you can submerge it. We want to be using a solution, a 50-50 solution of vinegar and water. The solution should be adequate for removing the rust. I know that I've used vinegar in the past on some other things that wasn't cast iron. It worked really, really well for removing rust. I'm sure it will in this too. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place the pan in the roaster pan, and then we're going to get our vinegar. And this is white distilled vinegar. And I'm going to go ahead and get a quart of water. Looks like it's going to end up taking another quart of vinegar, another quart of water. And that's all we're going to need, is just to totally submerge it. And I don't know if you can see, but it's actually, you can see some of the rust already. It actually brings it out a little bit more. So we're going to set the timer, and we're going to come back in 30 minutes and check and see what kind of a shape it's in. Okay, so here we are with the first 30-minute check, and I can already tell that we're going to have to go longer. I don't see any real change in that yet, but we want to check it every 30 minutes so that we end up just removing the rust and not eating into the metal. So here we are at 1 hour in the soaking, and I'm starting to notice a little bit of color change in the center of the pan, a little bit on the handle here. Not much change in the rust color right here at the end, so it looks like we're in it for some more time. Okay, so this is hour number 2. I'm going to get a towel, and I am going to scrub on it with some stainless steel wool scrubber, and we will see what we get from there. So I'm going to do some scrubbing. I'll use a little bit of the liquid here and get into this crevice area of the handle, and that is, it's definitely loose and seems to be coming off real well. Seems like the handle was the main thing, and it actually looks like we're doing really good here. I don't think that the vinegar water solution is going to eat away at the previous season. And actually, if you can see, we're definitely much better there. I can still see some rust on this cast seam here, but we're looking much better. Even the interior is starting to look better. So I'm just going to scrub some more on it, and then we'll put it back in the solution, let it set for another 30 minutes, and then we'll do some more scrubbing. I'm sure if a person had a wire wheel, you could probably get to some of the exterior and the handle and stuff with a wire wheel. Maybe if you had a circular wire wheel that you could put on a drill attachment, you could probably get some more of the interior stuff easier than with this. But we're doing what we've got, using it by hand. Okay, so we're back at this on I think it's round 3. This is 3 hours in. Okay, now if you can see, that looks really good right in here where we scrubbed that before. The handle is looking much better, actually starting to get quite a bit of down to bare metal on the interior here. Don't think we're going to worry so much about the exterior because that's not where we're actually going to be cooking at. Now I am putting quite a bit of pressure on this to get this broke free. And as we can see, we're getting more and more of the scale off of the interior. Handle looks really good now. And I'm going to give a little whirl and see if there's a possibility that this scraper might break some of it free. Oh yeah. We're getting down to bare metal. And actually I'm kind of glad I'm doing this because it looks like there's some possibility of some rust underneath the seasoning, which would be an indicator that maybe it wasn't seasoned properly after being new. So here we are, we've got the pan down to bare metal as best as I could get it. The bottom side was a whole lot harder and was not able to get all of it down to bare metal like I would have liked to. So it does look pretty nice. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put a thin coat of lard all over the whole pan, and then we're going to put it in the oven, and we're going to have it upside down in the oven so that no lard pools in the bottom. Going to take paper towel, get some of the lard on the paper towel, and start coating the inside. What we're looking for is a moderately thin coat over everything, because the whole idea is to have the oil, the lard, soak into the metal. And believe it or not, cast iron has pores, and this will soak down into those pores and seal it. This is why they call it seasoning. And one of the places that we noticed predominant rust on this pan before was in this handle area down in here. Obviously whoever seasoned it before maybe didn't take the time to get down in there like they should have. But we're going to try to make sure that we do. Okay? And even though the bottom side is probably not needing sealed or seasoned like the rest of it, this is going to prevent it from rusting. And that's what we want to do, is we want to prevent it from rusting. Okay, so now we're going to flip it upside down and put it in the oven. Okay, so we're putting the foil in there so that we don't get oil on the burner eyes. Shut it up and start the timer for 1 hour. Yeah, so after 1 hour of 375 degrees in the oven, we're going to leave it in the oven and let it cool down at the temperature that the oven cools down. And then sometime later, we'll heat the oven back up after we pull the pan out. We'll do it again for a second time just to make double sure that everything is sealed so it's seasoned. Also, if you notice, I'm using the lard as a hand moisturizer. And here is the finished product of our reconditioning the old cast iron skillet. We did have to do it 3 times. We noticed that there were some areas that didn't get properly coated, and I don't know if you can kind of notice here, it's kind of got a dark amber color to it, and as it's used it'll get darker and darker. So if you do this and you notice some stickiness, That means that you want to put it back in and bake it a little longer. And so that's where we are. Well, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate your viewing, and we'll see you next week.